Hey, look, the game guide is back, but this time it's the remastered one because this time we're talking about all of the Dresspheres. Thanks to everyone, my top 5 Dresspheres video did so well that this is going to be a follow-up. So many people gave their comments in the video about what their favorite Dresspheres were, and it turns out that there is a variety of preferences. And I imagine that these preferences are in part due to differences in personality. I also think that because these Dresspheres are based off of people who lived about 1,000 years ago, these Dresspheres also have personalities of their own. And so, because there are 16 Dresspheres, I think it only makes sense to tie each Dressphere to the 16 personalities or the Myers-Briggs. It would be a lot of fun, and also you can take the quiz yourself and see what Dressphere lines up with your personality type. First up, let's talk about the Gunner. The Gunner uses firearms to attack enemies. Range isn't a problem, and Gunner's attacks are very effective against flying or airborne enemies. The trigger-happy attack enables you to assault a single foe with a barrage of lower-powered chain attacks during the time allotted. The Gunner is the first Dressphere you get, and the Gunner is also the default Dressphere for Yuna, which means that the personality of this Dressphere is more or less of Yuna's personality. She is a helper at heart. She always wants to do the right thing. She is proactive and she is a go-getter. The Gunner is a damage dealer and it also has an ability called Trigger Happy. The Gunner Dressphere never gets old. It's something that you can carry with you throughout the entire game. If you break the damage limit, then the Trigger Happy ability can do really crazy damage. With all of these things in mind, that is why I decided to assign the protagonist, or ENFJ, to the Gunner. Protagonists, or ENFJs, feel called to serve a greater purpose in life. Thoughtful and idealistic, these personality types strive to have a positive impact on other people and the world around them. They rarely shy away from an opportunity to do the right thing, even when doing so is far from easy. And that is why I give the protagonist to the Gunner. Next up, we have the Thief. While most enemies drop items in small amounts of gil after each battle, a Thief can steal additional items, gil, HP, and MP from enemies during combat. While a Thief is neither strong nor sturdy like some of the typical attacker types, the Thief's high agility and evasion make it easier to sidestep many physical attacks. Stealing is one of the best methods to gain powerful equipment early in the game. You can steal accessories from Chapter 5 while you're still in Chapter 1. With the Thief's steal abilities, you have to think ahead with the Thief. As a Thief, you're a little bit of a hoarder. You want to think ahead of the curve. You are stealing and pilfering gil early in the game. You prioritize collecting items and being prepared. This is why I have chosen the Commander, or ENTJ, for the Thief. Commanders, or ENTJ, are natural-born leaders. People with this personality type embody the gifts of charisma and confidence, and project authority in a way that draws crowds together behind a common goal. However, Commanders are also characterized by an often ruthless level of rationality, using their drive, determination, and sharp minds to achieve whatever end they've set for themselves. Perhaps it is best that they make up only 3% of the population, lest they overwhelm the more timid and sensitive personality types that make up much of the rest of the world. But we have Commanders to thank for many of the businesses and institutions we take for granted every day. The Commander is known for being ruthlessly rational and always finding a way. The Thief's ability to get money and also to get items is a way of being innovative and strategic, to always be thinking ahead of problems. Commanders also love a good challenge, and I think people who play the Thief think that way. The Thief isn't necessarily stronger, but it's more agile and it's more strategic, which is something that a Commander would love. Next up is the Warrior. The Warrior, Pain's initial Dressphere, is the first of many strong attacker Dresspheres in the game. The main function of a Warrior is to hit enemies hard and bring down large amounts of enemy HP with each strike, in a powerful attack designed to exploit enemy weaknesses. A Warrior can also make many enemies easier to defeat by lowering their attacking power, defense, and spell casting abilities. The Warrior is Pain's default Dressphere. and Pain is a reliable and rational type of person. The Warrior is the tried and true damage dealer, also with a lot of abilities similar to Orin. The Warrior is a grounded personality type, which is why I have chosen the Logistician or the ISTJ for the Warrior. Logisticians or ISTJs pride themselves on their integrity. People with this personality type mean what they say, and when they commit to doing something, they make sure to follow through. Logisticians are reliable and practical. They are also extremely grounded, and you can always trust a warrior or a logistician. Pain, who was once a crusader, is able to get the job done. Next up is the Songstress. The Songstress Dressphere transforms its user into a singing sensation who uses music and dance to distract the enemies from damaging the party. By learning the various dance moves available, a Songstress can inflict status ailments on the enemy party with a 100% success rate, except in cases where enemies are immune to the status ailments. For example, while a Songstress is present, you can blind the entire enemy party to prevent them from striking with physical attacks, or even stop them completely to make them easier targets. The Songstress is an interesting one because the Songstress also represents Len. The Songstress is both a performer, but as a performer, the Songstress is doing mostly support techniques that are very powerful. The Songstress doesn't do damage herself. She is looking out for her colleagues all the time. This combination of creativity and helpfulness, which is what made me choose the Mediator or the INFP. Although they may seem quiet or unassuming, Mediators or INFPs have vibrant, passionate inner lives. Creative and imaginative, they happily lose themselves in daydreams, inventing all sorts of stories and conversations in their minds. These personalities are known for their sensitivity. Mediators can have profound emotional responses to music, art, nature, and the people around them. Mediators are deep, soulful personality types, which is definitely suited for Len. While there are other personality types that are artistic or entertainers or they're exuberant, this one is more heartfelt and deep and internal, which I think fits the Songstress personality. Next is the Festivalist. This festival Dressphere allows each girl to show her seasonal spirit while still packing a mean punch. This Dressphere is one of the few that grants different abilities to each girl. Yuna attacks with handballs, called Tamari. Pain attacks with a large fan, and Riku attacks using apparently deadly cotton candy. Each girl's Festivalist Dressphere is accompanied by fireworks, matching her mascot Dressphere. The Festivalist is based off of a drawing that an 8-year-old fan had sent to Square Enix. The Festivalist is fun and artistic and out there and quirky. They are enthusiastic, creative, eager, unique, all of those characteristics. Speaking of unique, all 3 of the girls have very different designs and they have different movesets. Their fireworks are also based off of the mascots that they have. All of this in mind, this is why I have chosen the Adventurer or the ISFP. Adventurers or ISFPs are true artists, although not necessarily in the conventional sense. For this personality type, life itself is a canvas for self-expression. From what they wear to how they spend their free time, adventurers act in ways that vividly reflect who they are as unique individuals. Adventurers take each day as it comes. They do what feels right to them, which seems right for the Festivalist. Their moveset is very unique and kinda off the cuff, which seems to fit the adventurer spirit. Next up is the Psychic. The girls don school uniform type costumes for the Psychic Dressphere. Psychics attack with mental power, which grants them many unique abilities found nowhere else. Psychics are the only combatants who can reposition themselves at will with teleport, which allows double damage strikes from behind. Psychics can also use the telekinesis ability to instantly defeat a huge percentage of enemies, especially useful in Fiend Arena tournaments. And between the passive Eater abilities and Magic Guard, Physics Guard, and Excellence, a leveled up Psychic represents one of the hardest targets possible for hapless foes. The personality type I chose for the Psychic is strongly influenced by the way they look. They look sciencey and techy, and like they would have a personality like that. Also, their ability to levitate makes them look like they have a very rigorous intellect. The fact that they're able to teleport themselves for greater advantage is quite strategic and intelligent. That is why, for the psychic, I have chosen the Logician, also known as INTP. Logicians, or INTP, pride themselves on their unique perspectives and vigorous intellect. They can't help but puzzle over the mysteries of the universe, which may explain why some of the most influential philosophers and scientists of all time have been logicians. This personality type is fairly rare, but with their creativity and inventiveness, logicians aren't afraid to stand out from the crowd. Because logicians puzzle over mysteries of the universe, I see that as tying into the psychic because in their transition, they blast off literally into the universe. They're able to nullify attacks. They're able to stop time. They're able to teleport. They're able to levitate. Their intelligence is off the charts, which is why the Logician is a good fit for them. Next up, a traditional one, the Black Mage. Utilizing the forces of elemental magic, the Black Mage focuses power to attack enemies with incredible spells. Control of such energy weighs heavily upon the physical frame, so characters equipping the Black Mage Dressphere have higher MP but lower HP and high magic defense, but low strength and defense. Protect Black Mages by equipping accessories and garment grids that raise HP and defense. Since the learning of spell ability is a gradual process requiring a lot of battles, start by bolstering the magic at your disposal by acquiring the focus and HP drain abilities. I see the Black Mage as more traditional but a little bit more fiery and intellectual. So like a logistician but with a little more edge. Black Mages have more of a rock, paper, scissors approach to things, meaning they attack enemies with elemental damage and they think strategically. In other words, you can see their fight as kind of like a debate between the enemy and between the Black Mage. Also, when I think of the Black Mage, I think a little bit of Lulu. The introverted slot for this is kind of already taken, so we're going to have to go with the Debater, or the ENTP for the Black Mage. Quick-witted and audacious, debaters aren't afraid to disagree with the status quo. In fact, they're not afraid to disagree with pretty much anything, or anyone. Few things light up people with this personality type more than a bit of verbal sparring. And if the conversation veers into controversial terrain, so much the better. But at the same time, the Black Mage is intellectual. They also have to think very strategically because their HP is so low. They also must be thinking about defending themselves, which is what a debater does. Next up, we have another very traditional job class. We have the White Mage. While actively equipped by a party member, the White Mage Dressphere enables a character to provide constant healing and support to all allies. Unable to attack under normal circumstances, the White Mage works to prevent the other characters from falling into KO status and to remove harmful status ailments affecting allies. The White Mage was a very easy one to pick because the White Mage is such a strong helper class. The White Mage heals the sick, the White Mage looks out for others. The White Mage, in a way, acts selfless. The White Mage is also very good at anticipating the needs of others before they even have to ask for it. Your health is just barely low, well, I'm gonna just heal you. The White Mage is there for you. They are a strong friend and a strong advocate, which is why I have chosen the Advocate, or the INFJ, or the White Mage. Advocates, or INFJs, may be the rarest personality type of all, but they certainly leave their mark on the world. Idealistic and principled, they aren't content to coast through life. They want to stand up and make a difference. For Advocate personalities, success doesn't come from money or status, but from seeking fulfillment, helping others, and being a force of good in the world. And that is why the Advocate is the White Mage. Hey, editing Miranda here with my yellow tinted glasses and also a haircut. You probably guessed it, this video is long, and so I'm going to be cutting it into 2 parts. I will see you in the next part very soon. Bye everyone!